Hi everyone, this is Eric with Proud Counseling. I'm here today to talk about the importance of emotional awareness and how our emotions, even the bad ones, can be helpful for us if we lean into them and actually process them versus pushing them away like we tend to try to want to do. So these ideas are rooted in cognitive behavioral therapy, which is also known as CBT. CBT is based on the premise that our thoughts and our feelings and our behaviors are all really connected to one another and sort of always having an impact. So if you think about them like a triangle, thoughts, feelings, behaviors, they're always interacting and they're always kind of informing how we think and how we feel and how we behave. For anyone who is wanting to do a little bit of sort of like self-growth as far as their own emotional awareness, right now is a really important time to do it. We are all experiencing such a range of strong emotions through the pandemic, and it can be really tempting to want to just push those away and not deal with them. But if we do that, first of all, they're not going anywhere. They're still stuck within us, and we're not able to actually process them out. So how can we do this? I'm going to teach you all how to do this today on your own. So basically what you want to do, and you can do this in any particular order, but these are the different ways to kind of acknowledge and process through our emotions. One is by looking at what was the situation that caused the feeling. You also want to look at what are the feelings, what are the emotions, what are the thoughts coming up for you in response to what's happening, what behaviors are you doing in response, and what are the longer term consequences from those behaviors. So I'm going to go through an example today that kind of illustrates this for something that happened to me fairly recently. This was a few weeks ago, maybe even a couple months ago at this point. Backstory. So I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I live pretty close to the beach, which I'm really grateful for. And this summer it has been very much something that I've been using as a form of self-care, going to the beach on the weekends, de-stressing, listening to the waves, spending time with friends. It's been really, really crucial for me in keeping my mood regulated. That shifted a little bit in the middle of the summer when the City of Charleston passed an ordinance and they banned all public parking at the beach that I went to as an effort to kind of reduce the number of people that were going there, and because a lot of people weren't following the social distance restrictions properly. So this was a really effective way to get people not to go there. However, it was a big bummer for those of us that had been going and properly distancing. It wasn't really as accessible of an option anymore. There was some parking, it was just more limited. So what ended up happening is once this restriction passed, I immediately was like, oh, I'm probably not going to go to the beach as much. That's a big bummer. And so a couple weeks went by, I hadn't gone, and I started kind of saying, okay, I really want to go to the beach this weekend. And I noticed it just wasn't happening. Or not that it just wasn't happening, it wasn't happening. And I wasn't quite sure why. I wasn't really having a lot of awareness around it. I just kind of noticed Saturday would come and go and I wasn't making it out there. So then I was like, okay, what's going on for me with this? So I did this exercise here. So what was the situation? The situation was the parking restrictions had changed and I wasn't sure where I would be able to park if I went to the beach. What were the thoughts coming up for me? I don't know how this is going to work. I might not be able to find parking. What if I get out there and I'm not able to figure it out? What's this going to be like? This is going to be different than what I'm used to. The feelings coming up in response to that, I was anxious. I was really anxious about it and not even realizing it. I was fearful. There was uncertainty. Behavior in response to it, I wasn't going. I was just staying home. And longer term consequences of that behavior is I was getting bummed out, especially as, Sunday would roll around. I'd be like, man, I didn't go to the beach this weekend. I really wanted to do that. And I was also missing out on that thing that was keeping my mood really regulated and high, which is really important for all of us, but especially for, me as a therapist. I got to keep myself right so that I can be good for my clients that I work with. So anyway, once I actually leaned into it and was like, oh, I'm really anxious about this situation, it was cool because one, just acknowledging that feeling actually takes some of the power away from that emotion that you're having inherently, just when you own it. Oh, I'm anxious. The anxiety comes down a little bit. Even better, then once you figure out what's going on and what the feeling is, you can start to do some things in response to that to change it around, to get a different outcome. So that's what I did. I'm going to share about that in a different video on challenging avoidance, so stay tuned for that one. But in the meantime, just remember, emotional awareness is what's going on, what are the thoughts coming up, what are the feelings, and what am I doing in response? So practice it.